Good morning. It's one of my favorite times and days of the week, Functional Friday. And Kimberly Lebbing is joining me this morning. If you have not joined us before, my name is Becky. I'm one of the co-owners of Symbol. Symbol is a healthy lifestyle focused restaurant in Kirkwood and in Chesterfield, Missouri. And this time on Fridays, I always like to have somebody joining me where we share a topic of conversation that has to do with your health and your well-being, and body, mind, and spirit kind of all goes hand in hand. We're changing this up a little bit unexpectedly this morning with Kimberly. Kimberly is our gut health coach, one of the experts in that arena, and she has been my guest in the past. And there were some synchronicities that happened yesterday, and we kind of decided, no, let's go down this avenue and talking about fear and how holding on to fear can hold you back from living a healthy life. Kimberly, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and I'm excited about this topic.
Yeah, it's so to bring everybody that's listening back to backtrack just a little bit.
Yes.
Kimberly shared a very personal post on Facebook yesterday, kind of seeking help and expressing the fact that she's in a place of fear. And I read it and I commented and I said, "Hey, if you want to talk, I'm available. Just reach out." And you responded back. And then we both ended up at this networking event that neither one of us had ever been to before. And it was like we were just supposed to be together. And then
Yes.
we sat and talked yesterday at 3 o'clock. So do you want to share just a little bit about where your energy was at yesterday and why you felt called to discuss and talk about this fear?
Well, it's really interesting. I've been struggling with that all week, probably for longer than a week, but it's specifically been front of mind this entire week, which is why I did that post because I know that other people struggle with it too. With different fear and anxieties and everything. And where I was whenever we yesterday, I was up in a place of just trying to understand what I was going through and really trying to break through it. But then the way everything happened and fell into place, and that I wanted to reach out to you, and because you said in the
Mhm.
comment to text you, and I didn't because I was busy. And then we ended up seeing each other, you know, so it
Yeah,
was pretty amazing the way it all came together.
it really was. And I always love expressing the fact that there are no accidents. And oftentimes people are put in our place, put right in front of us just in the moment in which they're needed to be there. And it was so just obvious to you. And I know we really need to talk. And then it was like, okay, we're talking tomorrow. Let's get this done and see what shows up. So can you explain a little bit more what the fear was feeling like in your body and how it was then showing up maybe in some symptoms?
Yes. So in my body, I mean, it was showing up in other ways, but in my body, it's just so interesting. I noticed for a few days, I was having more indigestion, more, little bit more bloating. Wasn't sleeping well. And I most definitely had some brain fog going on, all because of a fear of, I mean, I was dealing with what other people think. It's something I've struggled with from like when I was a little girl, but that was really what was bubbling up, was the fear of what other people think about just different various things that I feel called to do.
Mhm.
And but physically, I was seeing it manifest in different things. And I see this come up in coaching all the time. It was really interesting to be very aware of it in myself, though.
And are we safe to say that really a lot of this fear is coming from a place of you're fearful that people will judge you for something that is happening, whether you
Absolutely.
being who you are, expressing yourself, and also doing what it is that you feel called to do?
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's been such a almost a passion now of really looking into, what does that look like? Because it doesn't feel good to be judged. And sometimes you make it up in your head.
Yeah. Well, I think we make a lot of stuff up in our head.
Yes, yes, but sometimes it's true too. But it's really important to me to not come from a place of judgment, and we talked a lot about that
Yeah, and
yesterday.
I think that was why it was so relatable, was because how many people are in that exact same position, not being able to live freely, expressing who it is that they are, and not feel like they're going to be judged for it. And just in that topic alone, what kind of illness are you holding
Oh,
onto within your body?
right, right. I'm because anxiety. And even in my coaching, my folks that I see that have like acid reflux and a lot of gut issues, I think of that one especially because I see anxiety because that judgment feeling that you have oftentimes turns out or shows up as anxiety, and that's where you hear the phrase you have butterflies in your stomach. It's a thought of anxiety, but there's a direct relation to what's going on.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about just our experiences yesterday together, because I'm somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of fear around what people are going to think of them. I mean, I'm human just like anybody else is, and sometimes yes, that does show up. However, I'm pretty blunt, and I speak up oftentimes. And we were at this networking event, and I wasn't agreeing with some of the things that were being said, and you were sitting right next to me, and I expressed that and I said that out loud, and you kind of were you were in agreement with me in a lot of ways. Did you feel like in that moment you were able to witness somebody being able to speak up, and that kind of bring some calmness to you as well?
Oh, absolutely. And I admire you for that, because that's something I think that I struggled with from, I mean, early on, is not being able to speak up for myself, or when I feel I'm a lot better about it now. But then that particular topic, it wasn't important enough to me to speak up. so, so
It wasn't.
sometimes I just let it go.
Yeah, and it was pushing a couple of my buttons enough to say, hey, I don't quite agree with this
Right.
here. But it's a powerful moment when I think that that's what community is all about, and relationships. And we need to witness other people doing that. That allows us to feel safer and express ourselves more freely.
Yes, yes. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking about even with my kids, like it's important for us to stand up for the things that we believe in so that they can see that and not feel judged too. So
Look
it's
at
like we're
look
having
at how
another session now.
I was gonna say it's like we're right back into coaching
Right.
at
Only
this
people
point.
are watching.
I know people are watching, and we're not giving out a whole lot of details in regards to it, but it's very much related. So you and we were able to connect yesterday at 3 o'clock, and I really sat down and I coached you for about
Yeah.
40 minutes to an hour. And really it was just saying, and the first fear we were able to cover in what, 10-15 minutes, which
Yeah.
you thought was the biggest fear.
Yes. Yes.
Did it take, I mean, am I correct?
Yeah,
Like,
you're
did we go
totally.
from
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
to
You're
the other in a
totally.
fan?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, let's just knock some more of these out.
Yeah.
And it was really at one point, and I had shared with you, I was having some stomach issues earlier in the week. And all of a sudden, within a few minutes, it all hit my stomach sitting across from you and talking to you. And I go, hold on, you're having some health issues right now because of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it wasn't anything major. I've done a lot of
Right.
work on myself, but I mean, it was just seriously just indigestion. But I know if that's not something, if that fear, that anxiety, or whatever you have is not dealt with, that can build up, and that can progress into other things. And then, before long, it can be things that are harder to correct. The harder, it
Right.
manifests into something bigger, and then that's harder to correct.
And it just starts building up and building up and building up.
Right.
So how are you feeling today compared to the rest of the week? Because you said that you've been feeling
Oh,
like this for a week, and now today is Friday.
yeah. I feel fabulous. I woke up. I've been awake since like 4:30. No, and I couldn't wait to get up and read and research some of the things that we had talked about.
Uh-huh.
And so I was looking into some of that, but I feel a lot full of energy. I feel calm, and I'm ready to let's take on the world.
So if somebody's listening, if somebody is listening to this now and they're going through some of the same feelings, there is something that they're suppressing or holding on to that's causing fear, how would you now guide and direct them to take steps to release that?
Okay. There's a lot of things, and that goes into like coaching, like you do, and I do too. And I've worked that into my programs now
Mhm.
because if you've got a lot of fear, anxiety, and emotions you're dealing with, and you have health issues, you're not going to resolve the health issues if you're only dealing with the physical things. I believe that a lot of health issues start here with your thoughts. Your thoughts, your emotions. I mean, not everything. If you're, hit by a bus, obviously you didn't think that maybe, but, but,
I've had those thoughts before, but
right.
it wasn't me getting hit by a bus. It was somebody.
Okay. But that might be anger and resentment, right?
Right,
Which
right.
would affect.
Maybe I need a session.
Right, right. But dealing with things and really just exploring. So I guess the way I would help somebody is really exploring, what have you had to deal with in the past? Do you have some unforgiveness? Do you have, things from your past that you haven't dealt with? Do you have anger? How do you respond to things? A lot of times just, in the moment, dealing with it like on this, more surfacey level, just learning how to breathe even before you eat. Deep breathing things in the moment is helpful, but really being able to dive in and help with things from the past that people are dealing with. Sometimes it's things you don't even know. We talked about that yesterday
Hmm.
too. Things show up that you don't remember, or from past things that you have no idea that was affecting you. And I think I told you about how I had gone through. I've been certified in neurolinguistics, and I worked
Hmm.
with someone who worked with me
Right.
back in December, my friend Darlene, and we worked on relationships for me. And it was amazing that the next day I stopped procrastinating. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how some emotions are affected, not just your physical health, but also how you move forward in life.
Yeah. And even yesterday and I was able to connect so many of the dots for you to be able to
Yes.
take things in relationship to see where at one point pain and suffering showed up, and guilt and more judgment and all of these other things, to be able to shift it and show you how that actually truly comes across as a blessing for you today, and how that one thing got you to do several other steps to get you to where it is that you are today. And
Yes.
without that experience, you would not be where you are today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Learning from the things that you go through,
Yes.
what you learn from it is huge, huge. I mean, I've learned I'm strong. I'm a powerful person. I'm a compassionate person, and I'm a good friend to people. And that's something that I didn't know as a kid and growing up. Those are the things that I didn't know about myself. And I'm going to be 50 tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I'm like, oh my
Happy
gosh,
birthday.
50 years to figure out some of these things. But I figure I've got another 50 at least, because I plan on being at least 100.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I got another 50 to change the world.
Well, and I'm going to say this to you again because I feel like you have to be reminded of this consistently, is you are doing an amazing job as a mom.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. My kids have always been just passion, for me to raise them the right way, and for them to think the right way, and make good choices, and then sometimes things don't go exactly the way you plan for them to go, but it's their journey, and there are things to learn that they learn from it too. So I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk just a little bit briefly about gut health, because that is what you are truly an
Yes.
expert in. So give us just a small background on who you are and how you even started down this path.
Okay, so I started this because of my own family. I had struggled with depression, anxiety, and a lot of gut issues right off the get-go. Psoriasis, and my kids, autism spectrum, ADHD, they weren't growing, a lot of gut issues. We did a series of different things to try and fix. I say that, I'm like, it's not my job to fix them. but that's the place I was in at the time. Um, and the road to health looked, like all over the place. And then we did a gut healing diet, and we eliminated some things. We've put in, we figured out what food sensitivities we had, and that brought us on the road to healing. And after that experience, our doctor asked me to start teaching her other patients. And everything was just kind of handed to me. So I wasn't a coach at the time. I got certified later on, but that's how I started, was with teaching someone else's patients how to do the things that we did.
What are give us 2 or 3 pointers or tips if we're focusing on gut health? Where is it that we're going to start?
Okay, so we did, Okay, we did bone broth. That's not for everybody, but that is something that we did. I will say this, there's not one diet. Everybody is uniquely and wonderfully made, and there is not one diet fits all. I wasn't always of that mindset. When we came out of the healing that we did, I thought everybody needed to do exactly what I did. It was the most wonderful thing. And then I found out really quickly that that's not the case. Everybody is really unique. So I will say that we did bone broth, we did fermented foods, did a lot of that. And now you can buy these things. When we did it, it wasn't ready. You couldn't buy it really. So I had to make everything. And we did food sensitivity, elimination diet, basically. We didn't do a lot of testing, but we did figure out what things were bothering us at the time and which ones aren't. And I will say this, I was so sensitive to gluten that it would give me seizures. That was the trigger. So it was pretty severe, seizures and be in the bathroom for 2 or 3 days. So, and now I can eat it occasionally.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much. Oh,
yes. Yeah. So, I try not to eat it every day, but if I'm at a party or a wedding and I want to eat the cake, I eat the cake. So I'm a big, huge advocate of not living in fear of your food.
Oh, that's so well said. I can express that and appreciate you saying that, because so oftentimes people are coming into the restaurant and they are so hyper focused on what they can or cannot do that it's like you can see it in their entire body. It is like high anxiety and I get it. Like, I will also say I've met and spoken with some people that really have some major illnesses, and they'll be down for quite some time if they do. So I get it, but we've got to figure out how to maneuver through that fear and identify where it's stemming from.
Yeah. And that's exactly I lived in that fear, and I see that show up as more anxiety. And you need more anxiety. If you're already sick, you already have these things, you do not need more anxiety. Right. So really looking at it from a healthy space And maybe you are that sick or that sensitive at the time, but having the mindset and even saying the words of, I can't have this now, but I'm working on my health, so I will be able to later, or so that you are putting that out there to the world, universe, whatever you want to call it, that you're going to be healed.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to wrap this up here real shortly, but I do want to share this. And I think it's also important to express and say, both Kimberly and I have not been longtime friends. We're acquaintances due to the restaurants, and then appreciating you as a coach and getting to know you a little bit in that arena and seeing you on social media. But we really bonded quite a bit yesterday and shared some personal things, and we're very opposite. I would say that we don't have 100% the same belief system, but at the same time, we actually do. And when we were able to come together and have this conversation yesterday, we were able to see both sides of it and find the common denominator in it as well. So I share this and I say this because this is important and valuable when it comes to your health as well. In regards to, you may not always believe the same things somebody else does, and you've got to figure out how to have those conversations. Only you as an individual can heal yourself and heal your body, and food plays such a huge role in it. And if somebody is saying you need to do this and it's not feeling right to you, you've got to be aware of that and shift it and change it as well.
I will also say, I
trust your gut.
Trust your gut. Exactly. There's a reason your gut is considered your intuition.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions that have nothing to do with this whatsoever. If you go to color an Easter egg, what's the first color you go to pick?
Oh, hot pink.
Hot pink. Not just pink, but hot pink.
Hot pink.
Your absolute favorite place to go visit in St. Louis?
Oh, in St. Louis. Botanical Gardens. Yeah, I love outdoors, nature, beauty, all that. I could sit there all day.
And when you go to the grocery store, what's one thing that you almost always buy that's not on your list?
Oh, dates. I know that's an odd one, but I love, like, when I see that, I'm like, oh, I've got to have these. They taste like candy.
I wasn't expecting that one. You answered it really quickly. You were like on top of those questions. Kimberly, I want to thank you for joining me. Is there anything that you have upcoming or anything that it is that you want to share about what you've got going on?
I do. I actually have a 8-week group program coming up on the 29th, and you can find it on my website if you go to the Work With Me section. And we're talking all about gut health in those 8 weeks. There's recipes, there's menus, and actually shopping lists. I even make it really easy with shopping lists. And we cover a lot of mindset, also stress, anxiety, and how to work through those things.
Can you make sure that you put that link in the comments so that anybody that is watching this can go directly to that?
I absolutely can.
Perfect. Kimberly, I want to thank you again for joining me. You guys can join me next week. I'm actually not sure who my guest is. I think it may be a doctor of pediatrics or something like that. But I want to thank Lacey for stepping in last Friday and doing the interviews. And you're going to see some other people kind of stepping in and doing this as well, because they have shown some great interest. I value them and their expertise and want to be able to step into some other directions as well and open up some doors for other people to step into this seat and do some more fun things with me. I am Becky Schoenig, one of the co-owners of Symbol, a healthy lifestyle focused restaurant in Chesterfield and in Kirkwood, Missouri. I want to take one more second and just thank Medici Media Space for giving me this space. You see that lovely arch behind me. This is in their office number 2, I believe. Conference room number 2 up here. If you are looking for a co-working space, a great community of entrepreneurs, musicians, artists, all kinds of different people, this is a great place to check out. So tune in next Friday and I will see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly.
All right. Bye.